It is that time, ladies and gentlemen. Arguably one of the biggest and most prestigious majors to ever grace CSGO is on the horizon. I'm going to be starting up a little 4-part series where I get to talk through my pick'ems for each stage, and then of course I'll be joined at the end by some illustrious guests to talk through how and why they went for their picks and how it led to them, of course, being so successful. The diamond coin is what we're looking for. This is my video and my attempt to get it. I've been pretty successful in previous majors, so I'm feeling relatively confident. And we're talking through my formulas and all of the good stuff. And of course, since the major starts on the 31st, I've got the Halloween decorations on deck, so I hope you're enjoying it. I've also got another little addition here as well. The jack-o'-lantern, I think you call them, will be joining me for the ride, but for at least the good start of the major, the decorations stay. Anyway, before we get into any of this, I want to talk through the results of the RMR prediction video, where, of course, as you saw, I was joined by some brilliant guests. So we're going to talk through who ended up winning on that one. Now, as you can see on that left-hand side, there was some fantastic Neokai coins on display, the diamond, gold, silver, and bronze coins for the top 4, and thankfully, I finished within the top 4 of my own video. So I feel, you know, I feel a little bit rewarded, but it was in fact NATO Sappings who ended up on top, 33 points, 2 clear of Zerfa in second place. I was just in behind with 30, and then Trav rounding out the top 4 with 27. It was pretty hotly contested at the top, and I guess probably pretty hotly contested at the bottom too. We had Lucy and Yumi joint on 22, and Tom just at that rock bottom position. He gets the wooden spoon in 10th place, but credit to NATO Sappings. He went for some risky picks and some slight rogue ones as well. And I remember him even saying in the video when we spoke to him, you know, he wasn't sure on a few teams. It worked. He seems to have that innate knowledge, and hopefully we can get some of these familiar faces back, of course, for the second iteration, the major pick'ems. But now let's get into my picks. We'll get in game, we'll go through the pick'ems, and we'll go through all the good stuff. Now, I've got to admit, I've been away for the last week, so I really haven't had too much time or any at all, to be honest, to take a look through the ESL Rio 2022 items. So first of all, I'm going to have a quick look through the stickers, which I've heard some pretty good reviews about. I think people seem generally quite happy about them. So, I mean, the golds look very clean, but golds kind of always look clean. Let's take a look at the kind of one of the hollows. Pretty good. Okay. It's kind of got, I mean, it kind of seems like a bit of a Hawaii vibe, but I gotta say, I'm a fan. They look pretty decent. I might have to try and buy some. They look pretty good. Okay. And then we've got to buy the pass. 15 quid. Okay. Alright. Well, first of all, I've got to buy the pass. £15.50. Inflation, man. It's a hell of a thing. Right. I'm going to buy this pass quickly. Then we are going to get into getting all of these Challenger stage ones done. I'm going to set the tokens right for the final video, where I'll let you guys decide what games I use them on, basically. Right, as you can see, transaction completed. Now we can kind of, you know, get the show on the road a bit. So, passing me activated, all of the good stuff. And there's the coin. Now, I actually saw the diamond coin online. And I gotta say, it looked pretty clean. It looked pretty good. We're gonna start with the pick'ems, of course, as you do. The free content. Now, I can talk through kind of how I'm gonna do this. There's a few different ways people try and go for, you know, getting the 3-0 right. That's not the vibe I'm going to go for. I'm going to play it safe. I think it's probably the best way to do it. I think the 0-3, I don't think there's too many that go into consideration here. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to go for the one that most people are going for. Sorry to all my Aussies out there. I apologise. I don't see a world in which Greyhound can pull off something miraculous here, is the way I'm going to put it. But they're going to be locked in as my 0-3. I think that's probably a good way to do it. And then, for me, you've kind of just got to lock in the secure picks, you know, a Vitality going through. For me, it kind of has to happen. I can't see one in which they don't. Same goes for C9. Mouse as well at the moment, been looking pretty clean. I mean, these three already seem like surefire picks. I think actually probably you can even include outsiders into like these 4. Even on bad days, they're better than the rest kind of thing. That's the vibe I'm going for. Vitality. Recent ESL Pro League champions, they've been absolutely swimming recently in terms of, you know, Storm at Blast. They've been great, right? So I have no problems, no qualms at all this time making it through. Cloud9, we know what level they are at. We know what they can play like. They've been sick. Outsiders, I'll come back to Miles in a moment. Outsiders have been really good. I think the additions of Fame and Norbert coming through, they look like a really good side. So I've got to say, I'm impressed with what we've seen from them. And then Miles, I will happily, you know, hold my hands up and say I massively underestimated the side. I love Torzi, JDC, when those two came in, I was like, okay, good additions. Zershan added to the mix, I was like, alright, they're such a young side now. Do they have the experience and caliber to kind of, you know, continue on LAN? They've been great. They've really been impressing me. So I think these 4 for me seem like surefires. I think it's probably the best way I'm going to put it. we'll have to wait and see how it actually pans out. And then to kind of support around it, I think Fnatic probably seemed like a pretty good pick. I mean, Messi has been doing a really good job at the top there. Obviously, you know, the other kind of puzzle pieces they've brought in towards that roster were kind of the guys from Copenhagen Flames, Nicholas and Roy. They've looked really good. Fasher coming in as well at 26 years of age. A lot of people saying maybe is he kind of, you know, past his prime already in a sense, but he seems to be continuously kicking. So good to see from him. I think then these last two of like surefire ones become difficult because part of me like wants to back the Brazilians, but they're so hit and miss at times that you never really know. I think if it's between Big and OG, I'm going to lean in favor of Big. I think even if I'm right in saying Sin is playing at the major, youngster, but I've actually I've been quite impressed. Pleasantly surprised, impressed with what he's been bringing to the table. Oh, and then rounding this out becomes difficult. Do you know what? I might even like throw out a bit of a wild card. Do you know what? If it's going to happen, Imperial go 3-0. That's what I'm going to go with. If it's going to happen, Imperial go 3-0. That's the way I'm leaning. I'm not really sold on OG. I don't really have that kind of, I don't know. There's something about, I'm not really sold on them. I don't know why. I'm just not. This last choice is brutal as well. Because you've kind of got a few considerations taken into here. I mean, okay, OG, I think they're just so hit and miss at the moment. I mean, we've kind of seen recently, like Melbourne, when they lost to Wings Up. I was really concerned about that sort of performance. Even still since, it's not exactly been comfortable sailing for them. I mean, kind of going from left to right. EG, I'm not sold on that project at all. Yeah, I mean, I think Automatic's great, but I just feel like it hasn't really worked out in the way they maybe hoped. I mean, actually fair to them, they were great at the RMR. I just really don't have the confidence just yet in them. So I feel like they maybe don't make it. B&E are one that I want to consider just because I really like this roster. The only thing, and this is a similar thing I can talk about when we get to the Legend stage, is their run up to the major. And we saw this happen last time. Their online era run up to the major, it's always brutal for some reason. And recently they've looked pretty poor. I mean, they've been losing in kind of some of these tier 2 tournaments like to Elisa, right? And I casted all of, 2 days ago now. They got battered by Tyloo. I mean, Tyloo, I'm not being funny, but that side is seriously dropped out of notable names for quite a while, right? They're kind of 4th best coming out of China, basically, when you consider that. Probably at the top's Rare Atom, just in behind is Blin Vision, then Wings Up, and then Tyloo. Even the Asian RMR, they finished 4th, right? So, I mean, the fact that they 2-0'd B&E makes me concerned, but then we saw this happen last time. They were pretty poor in the run-up of the online bit towards the major, and then they farmed out the major and actually played really, really well. So you got right there, 9Z or 9Z. I actually like this team, but they're so new. There's so little to go off on them. I like the youngsters they've brought in as well. I think they're really cool. The question, of course, can they do it on the day? Again, not really sold, I guess probably the best way to put it. Gamer Legion. Now, this is one that I actually, for some reason, have a bit of a, fabled confidence about. I think Shuhei is brilliant, and I really think this roster has been farming. Of course, as of the day recording, what day is it today? It is the 26th. Game Legion just qualified for the grand finals of Elisa, and which means it books them a ticket to the Elisa LAN, in, the Espoo in Helsinki. They've been farming. They've been seriously good. I think this side seems to have found this new form. Acor has been popping off as well recently. So, I don't know. I have a bit of confidence about Gamer Legion. It's the question of, do I want to lock him in as my choice, right? That's the rough one. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I think they're definitely up there, probably the top 3 that I would consider for this last spot. Zero Nation, again, they're a side who I didn't actually expect to be here, to be perfectly honest. So the fact that they are, a lot of credit to them. And they played really well. And it's quite nice to see both Imperial and Zero Nation here, because it means that old SK roster's back, which is, I don't know, for me, it warms my heart a little bit. I mean, when I was kind of getting into watching CS competitively in the early days, SK was still a thing. There was such a kind of a fabled name. So it's cool to see them. Fury have been very hit and miss recently. Yeah, I don't know. For Furia, it's like, normally on paper, I'll be like, okay, yeah, they'll be fine. They'll get through this. Tier 1 side, they'll be easy. But it just hasn't been the case for Furia recently. I don't know if it's confidence issues. I don't know what's been going on with them in terms of their recent performances. But, sometimes they're well beaters, and other times they get rolled by Tier 2 sides. You just never really know what Furia you're getting on the day. Yeah, I don't know. I've been I've been keeping a keen eye on Furia, just because I'm slightly worried about them dropping out super early here. I mean, there's a real part of me which even thinks that Furia might not make it through the challenger stage, and then it's just kind of this big talking point of like, what's now the choices? You know, how do you rebuild the side of old that, you know, at one point Furio was seen as one of the best sides in the world, not just one of the best sides coming out of South America. I mean, granted, part of that was part of the online era, but yeah, now they're no longer that kind of, you know, scary side. And I think it's because a lot of people have read how to counter Furia. They understand kind of how aggressive they are. And hey, I mean, credit the teams for adapting, right? That's what you have to be to. That's what you have to do to be at the top. And then, of course, finally, IHC. Do I need to even talk about IHC? I can't see a world in which they pick up a victory. One thing I will say, last major, in the challenger stage, I got very close. I think I literally only got bang on 5, because I put IHC to go 0-3 over. Was it Order back then or Greyhound? It was this Aussie team basically, and then in fact IHC ended up winning it. So you know I counted them out, but I don't think they're making it through. If I'm being perfectly honest. You know, a massive part of me is between B&E and Gamer Legion, I think, in my mind. They're kind of the two that come to the front of my mind. And the reason why I kind of want to go for Gamer Legion is just because of how well Acor's been playing. But then I do love B&E, and I've got a B&E jersey literally in my drawers over there. So it's like a side that I really like. I mean, I you know, personally as well, no players from both teams. Shuhi I speak to on a fairly regular basis, and he's a super nice dude. And Synopsy on the other side, again, another guy who's really, really nice. So, you know, it's a tough decision. It's like when your parents are divorced, you have to pick between mum and dad. It's kind of what it feels like right now. I think I've probably... Do you know what? Just because I think it's such a cool story, I'm going to go with Gamer Legion. They're going to be my final choice if I can drag them. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we're going for. I'm going to go for a Gamer Legion as the rogue one, which means Vitality, Cloud9, Mouse, Outsiders, Fnatic, Big, Gamer Legion. They are going to be my picks. My surefire picks are the Vitality, Cloud9, Mouse, and Outsiders. I think, you know, 90% chance picks, so they're kind of Fnatic and Big. And then Gamer Legion, a little bit of a wild card, but... I don't know. I like this team. I feel like they've been something special. I want to see Imperial 3-0 just because what a story would that be, right? This fallen side making it to the Legend stage. What a story that would be, right? Locking them in. This is what I'm going for. If you want a diamond coin, this is your formula, ladies and gentlemen. But this is what we're going to go for. I feel like there is method to the madness here, but it works out. Greyhound. I feel like it just has to be Greyhound, doesn't it? I mean, they squeaked their way by the Asia Armor, that's how I'll put it. It was a little bit closer than they probably should have been. But hey-ho, I think that is what I'm going to lock it in as. I feel slightly unsure, but I've got a diamond coin in the majority of the majors. I mean, you can even see here, right? I mean, what have we got? Let's have a look. We got... So I got gold at Antwerp. Now, explanation there being I went Na'Vi in the final over FaZe just because I thought they would, you know, Simple would rekindle that form. Not to be. Fair enough. Arm hands up. Everything else was fine, though. Stockholm, Diamond, never in doubt. I think I've got one more, right? Here we go. Katowice, Diamond. Too easy, right? You know, if you think about it, I'm 2 for 3. About to be 3 for 4. This is where, lock them in. But this is what I'm going for at this stage. I'll be back again for the Legend stage. Similar format, similar video. And then, of course, Champion stage. And once we're done with the Champion stage, then I will bring you, you know, the leaderboard, the interviews, and all the good stuff of all the people who participated and kind of why they went for their certain picks. If you're not ready, subscribe to the channel, all the good stuff, like the video, etc., etc. Check out the Twitter, because that's what I'll be posting, kind of the leaderboard, who'll be participating. We've got all the big names. We've got some casters coming by as well, some analysts, hopefully some pro players as well to join by who can just kind of give us their input. We know Nate had an absolute steamer of an RMR, so we can hopefully see the same thing coming for him. But for now, this is what we're going to go for, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you for the Legend stage in about a week or so. And just before I go, in fact, go and check out the Twitch. You see it below. I, myself, alongside Paladin and Trav, the guys, of course, who run 2.5 Talent, we're doing a watch party every single day of the major. So swing by, you can come see our lovely faces. We've got some cool stuff going on. Halloween decoration on deck. We'll do some dumb challenges, all the great stuff. And it's for a good cause. I'm raising money for Movember, which you can check out as well in the link below. It's for mental health awareness and all the great stuff. And I will be growing a mustache throughout November, which is going to be a scary thought. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you for joining me. I will see you all for Legend Stage in a bit.